কাজ করি তখন অনেক ওয়েতে কিছু করা যায়, রাইট? মনে করো যখন গ্রুপ অফ পিপল একসাথে কাজ করে 15 জন, 20 জন, 30 জন, তখন একটা সিস্টেমে কাজ করতে হয়, তা না হলে তো প্যাচ লেগে যাবে, তাই না? কে কোনটা করবে? এই জন্য একটা সিস্টেমে কাজ করে। যখন whenever there is a group of people doing same thing, I mean doing one thing, right? Group of people working to accomplish something, তখন যদি অর্গানাইজ না হয় তাহলে ব্যাস লেগে যাবে এট দ্য এন্ড, রাইট? তো এই জন্য একটা সিস্টেমে কাজ করা হয়। তো এইরকম সিস্টেম অনেক টাইপের আছে, মেথোডোলজি বলে আর কি, না, একটা ওয়ে অফ ওয়ার্ক। তো এখন অনেকটা আছে, সবচেয়ে পপুলারটা হলো তোমার এজাইল। এজাইল আবার কয়েক রকমের আছে। এজাইল আবার কয়েক রকমের আছে। তো ওইটার মধ্যে সবচেয়ে পপুলার হলো স্ক্রাম। ওকে, স্ক্রাম। এখন স্ক্রাম কি? তোমাদের স্ক্রামের মধ্যে থাকে কে কে? মনে করো এই প্রজেক্টে যখন কাজ করা হয় তখন কে কে থাকে ডেইলি কাজের মধ্যে, বা মিটিং হয়, মনে করছে স্ট্যান্ড আপ মিটিং ডেইলি, মিটিং আছে না যে ডেইলি স্ট্যান্ড আপ 10 মিনিটের মধ্যে বলা হয়। তো অনেক সময় জিজ্ঞেস করে ওটার মধ্যে কে কে থাকে। দেখো ওটার মধ্যে থাকে স্ক্রাম মাস্টার, হি জাস্ট অর্গানাইজ থিংস, রাইট? মেক শিওর দ্যাট our progress of work, he log, like, take a note
what we did is yesterday and what we're gonna do today, and if there is any issues,
right,
we're gonna
track of it, right?
Record,
right, he keep record of what we are doing, basically what we did today. On the meeting we did not discuss, we just state that what I did yesterday, what I'm planning to do today, and if I have an issue,
there is an issue,
no discussion about the issue, just tell them I have an issue if I have. Otherwise I tell them what I did before, what I'm planning to do today. That's it, basically. So who attend those meetings? Sometimes they ask who attend those meetings. So scrum master, and then developer, tester, BA, right? That's like a main people. Developer, tester, BA, and scrum master. These four are the main. Sometimes the product owner comes, and then here the product owner comes, DBA comes, data modeler comes. Sometimes they come based on their work. কারণ ডাটা মডেল বা ডাটাবেস একবার ক্রিয়েট হয়ে গেলে they don't need to come much. Okay,
it is optional. Our main has to be BA.
Optional, actually optional meaning
optional মানে sometimes আসে, sometimes আসে না।
হ্যাঁ, হয় কি চিন্তা করো আর্কিটেকচার যে বিল্ডিং যে বানায়, রাইট? এরা কিন্তু বিল্ডিং শুরু করার আগে একটা ব্লুপ্রিন্ট বানায় দেয়, বানায় দেওয়ার পরে কাকে দেয়? রাজমিস্ত্রিকে দেয়। রাজমিস্ত্রি ওটা দেখে কাজ করতে থাকে। তখন কিন্তু আর্কিটেকচার ডেলি আসে না, মাঝে মধ্যে হয়তো আসতে পারে তোমার সপ্তাহে একদিন বা মাসে একদিন দেখে যাওয়ার জন্য হাউ দ্য প্রোগ্রেস ইজ, রাইট? If they need any suggestion, if they need any advice, if they don't understand anything, they need to know something, right? Once in a while they come. Architect, right? Same thing. DBA বা ডাটা মডেল তারা করে কি? ব্যাক এন্ডে ডাটা বেসটা তৈরি করে দেয়, ডাটা মডেলটা তৈরি করে দেয়। Once is done, then they can start working like developer things. Once the back end done, so তাদের আর once it is done, they don't have to come every time. If they need, they come sometimes. তো এই জন্য কনসেপ্টটা বুঝো। সুতরাং বলতে হবে যে who attend in the scrum meeting, daily scrum meeting, তোমার কি বলে daily scrum meeting. So তোমার scrum master comes, scrum master attend, developer, tester, BA, and sometimes data modeler come, DBA comes if necessary. Sometimes also the product owner comes, and those are the people sometimes attend. Okay, that's it. আর ওকে, জিনিসটা বুঝছো ঘটনা এটা এখানে is very important. কনসেপ্টটা ক্লিয়ার রাখতে হবে, কারণ ডেইলি কারা কাজ করে? ডেভেলপ করতেছে, টেস্টাররা টেস্ট করতেছে, বিএ কি রিকোয়ারমেন্ট নিয়ে কাজ করতেছে, রাইট? বিএ দে ওয়ার্ক অন দা রিকোয়ারমেন্ট, রাইট? সো দ্যাটস ইট বেসিক্যালি, দ্যাটস ইট, রাইট? দ্যাটস দ্য থিং। আর স্ক্রাম মাস্টার থাকবেই। এখন অনেক সময় জিজ্ঞেস করে যদি স্ক্রাম মাস্টার না থাকে, কোনো কারণে ডে অফ নিছে, সিক হইছে, আসলো না, দেন হোয়াট হ্যাপেন? তখন বলবো যে স্ক্রাম মাস্টার রুল can be done by anybody of the team. Like BA can be a scrum master, developer can be a scrum master, tester can be a scrum master, anybody. Now scrum master, he basically log what we did, what we are doing, things like that, right? That's it basically. So if today he doesn't come, then somebody can does it and send him an email, let him know that okay, this is what we did today. That's it, right? Basically. Okay. If he doesn't come 3 days or a week, somebody else can play that rule for that week, and all that note he took, he can send him an email, and then he can take it from there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you understand this concept? Because they ask you. The reason I'm saying is because they ask you this thing. Like, what happened? The Scrum Master doesn't come. Then, oh, anybody from the team, they can play that role for that day or for that week whenever he's absent. You know.
Mm.
Make sense, Shanta?
Mm-hmm.
It is very important. So, এখন স্ক্রাম মাস্টার এই যে স্প্রিন্টের মধ্যে কি কি মিটিং হয়, I mean স্ক্রামের মধ্যে কি কি টাইপের মিটিং হয়, that's another very very important. They ask you what are the meeting in the sprint. Okay, so এখন দেখো these 3 meeting আমি highlighting in yellow, that's the 3 meeting that is common. Like any scrum, these 3 meeting will be common. Okay, that we attend. Okay,
so the daily scrum,
Hmm?
sprint planning or sprint retrospect.
Sprint planning মানে কি? When it happens, the first day of the sprint, whatever requirement we are working, we first select what are the requirement we're going to work and who's going to do what, right? They're going to the requirement, they're going to create the task. Who's going to create the task? Master.
একটা কোশ্চেন ছিল।
হ্যাঁ,
ওকে, আপনার ব্যাকলগ গ্রুমিং বা রিফাইনমেন্ট এটা হইতেছে আপনার if there is any question about the requirement it will be discussed, এটা হচ্ছে ব্যাকলগ অথবা রিফাইনমেন্ট এর সাথে মিটিং এ, রাইট? ওকে, বাট স্প্রিন্ট প্ল্যানিংটাও কি সেমই? এটা তো আমি যখন রিভিউ করতেছিলাম তখন দেখতেছিলাম, এটা ভুলে গেছিলাম কোশ্চেনটা করতে। if there is any issues in requirement it will be Scrum Master will decide this. এখন স্প্রিন্ট প্ল্যানিং আর এই যে ব্যাকলগ গ্রুমিংটা কি সেমই?
না,
মানে what's the difference?
No, it's not the same thing. দেখো এটা ডিসকাস করি না, I'll come back and talk about backlog. Sprint planning meeting এ আমরা কি করি, on the like say we decide say is going to be, মনে করো আমরা একটা সফটওয়্যার বানাবো 1 বছর ধরে লাগবে, ঠিক আছে? তখন আমরা ডিসাইড করি যে স্ট্যান্ডার্ড আমরা 3 সপ্তাহ করে স্প্রিন্ট করব, 3 সপ্তাহ স্ট্যান্ডার্ড। এখন সামটাইম যদি 2 সপ্তাহ লাগে বা 1 সপ্তাহ বা 4 সপ্তাহ উইল ডু ইট, বাট স্ট্যান্ডার্ড 3 উইক স্প্রিন্ট। মনে করো কোনো সপ্তাহে দেখলাম যে নেক্সট এর যে রিকোয়ারমেন্ট গুলা করবো এগুলো অনেক বড় বড়, সুতরাং উইল টেক 4 উইকস। Sometimes দেখলাম no, this requirement is very small, then we'll do 1 week or 2 week. Okay, but let's say standard we are saying 3 weeks, let's say. So every sprint will be 3 weeks. So starting with zero, sprint number 0, sprint number 1, sprint 2, sprint 3, this is how it increases up to 1 year or 2 year, 3 year, or how long the project will be, right? So every sprint meaning a time frame. What I mean by time frame, let's say 3 weeks. This 3 is called a sprint. It's like a fancy way to say, fancy name. Sprint meaning time frame. If I decide my sprint will be 3 weeks, then it is 3 weeks called sprint 0. Next one sprint 1, next one sprint 2, next one is sprint 3, right? This is how it goes. So let's say sprint 1 or 3, I mean. So the first day, if it's 3 weeks, the first day, let's say I'm starting on Tuesday, let's say. So on Tuesday, there will be a sprint planning meeting, first day. Okay. So on that day, we're going to discuss what are the requirements we will be doing in this sprint. That's the first thing. What are the requirements we will be doing in this sprint? That's the first thing we decide. Everybody talks. After the discussion, the Scrum Master actually decides. Let's say we're going to do 3 requirements. So we are done. First thing we decide 3 requirements. And the Scrum Master asks, anybody has any question? Do you guys understand this requirement or any question do you have? If you have any, usually on that meeting, the product owner comes. Usually, why? Because product owner knows about this software, so they can answer your question. And BA also comes, they can answer your question if you have any question. So the Scrum Master will tell you, oh, you guys have any question? Do you understand? Or let me know if you have any question. If we have a question, we discuss, of course, and then ask any last minute question, basically. So that's the first thing we decide. What are the requirements we will be doing? So once that is done, and then we create task. We create task for this requirement, like who's going to do what. Let's say to do this requirement, there is a lot of things the developer has to do. 10 things developer has to do, and then whatever developer does, we have to test it. So they create a task. Developer 1 is going to do this, developer 2 is going to do this, and then tester 1 is going to do this, tester 2 is going to do this. They create task and assign it to them. Okay, like is a software. They will write the like task name, and after that there is a called assign to. On that thing they're going to put my name or you name or developer name, right? It's called so task and assign to. So they're going to assign to me, so that I can go to the system and see, okay, what are the tasks is assigned to me. That's the first thing. So the first, we decide what are the requirements we're going to do. Discuss if we have any last minute question. Not in general. That's not the first time we are seeing the requirement. We saw it before in the backlog grooming meeting. I'll come to that later. So we already know about this requirement, but in the last minute, if we have any question. So we ask them if a last minute question, discussion is done, and then we create the task, assign it to us. Okay, that's it basically in sprint planning meeting we do. First decide, then create task, right? Decide, discussion, create task, assign it to
And
us.
just give it to the person who's gonna do it.
Yeah. So basically that's all. Now it could be 1 hour meeting, it could be 2 hour meeting, based on how many questions we have. Sometimes we have so many questions that with the whole day takes, too many chaos. It happens. So, but it cannot be more than 1 day, which means it cannot be more than 8 hours. If the discussion continue more than 8 hours, that means you guys are not ready to start the sprint yet. You understand the concept? Let's say we are discussing. Oh, there's too many questions. It's 8 o'clock at night. No. That means you guys stop working. Stop the sprint now. Let first finish the discussion. Why you guys have so many questions now? You guys should already know the requirement. If you guys don't know the requirement, how are you going to work from tomorrow? Today is the planning meeting we discussed. From tomorrow, you have to start working. So today, if we have so many questions, that means we are not ready to work now, right? Simple. So that's why the meeting cannot be more than 8 hours. It can be 8 hours. 8 hours meaning 1 day, right? Basically 9 to 5. So we discuss based on the requirement, based on the question we have. Usually the meeting could be 1, 2 hours, 3 hours, or most 1 day. That's it, the whole day, not more than that. Okay. So they might ask you, oh, do you have a meeting that is more than 1 day? They say, no, it never happened to me. That the discussion is more than 1 day. It's never happened. Okay. That's the first thing. So we decide, and then that's it. Once meeting is done, then we go back to our desk and start working if we have time. Okay. So next day when you come, we just tell them what we did yesterday and what are you planning to do today. Right? That's it. It's going on for 3 weeks. So that's the daily scrum meeting or stand up, right? Every day we tell them, right? Once we finish working in 3 weeks, let's say today is Wednesday. Okay, today's Wednesday is done. So tomorrow on Thursday, there will be a meeting called review or debrief, meaning whatever we did these 3 weeks, we're going to show it to the client. That, okay, these 3 requirement is done, this 4, 2, 1 requirement is done. This is the output of it. See if you like it. Give us feedback. Do you want me to change anything? So they're going to discuss, and then they're going to tell us, okay, this is fine, this is not good, change it, all this thing. So we're going to take a note and we're going to change it. That's all we do. Sometimes they ask you if let's say we decided 3 requirements we're going to do within 3 weeks, but today's Wednesday, tomorrow we have to show it to them, but it's not finished. Do you extend the time? They ask, do you extend the time? They say, no, we don't extend the time. Whatever is done, we show it to them, and then we can continue with the next sprint, or if necessary, we can continue with the next sprint, or we can do it later sometimes. But we don't usually extend it. Usually we don't extend. Usually sometimes we extend based on the environment, but most of the time we don't extend it. We just show it to them whatever is done, and then we explain to them whatever we did and whatever is left over, what we're going to do. We can finish it next sprint. We'll show it to you later. That's the thing. Okay. So this is to show it to the client basically, right? What we did. That's 3 meeting. Now this retrospective means it's like a feedback meeting. It doesn't happen like every sprint. It happens like, say, after first sprint, you can have it. Second sprint, maybe you can have it. After then 4 or 5 sprint, you have it once in a while. Okay, that means like feedback, like what we did good. Whatever we did good, let's keep doing it. Whatever we did not do good, let's change it. What we can make it better, basically. Make sense? Okay. So this is retrospective. Now another one is backlog refinement meeting. That's very important meeting. Backlog grooming or refinement meeting. It means all the requirement that we have, remember the BA wrote it down, right? BA has the requirement. So on that meeting, whenever the requirement, we discuss in details what that requirement means. So in backlog grooming meeting, we discuss about the requirement and we then prioritize them. Which one needs to be first, and then second, and then third, we prioritize them. If we have like say 200 requirement, we put the number 1, 2, 3 up to 200. Which one needs to be done first, and then this is the serialized column. First, we discuss to understand the requirement, what that requirement means to in details level. I want to make sure that I understand it. That's the first thing, backlog grooming meeting. To understand the requirement and then prioritize them. Now, here is a very important point. If a requirement is really big, now what is requirement? Remember we did epic, remember theme, epic, story requirement. Remember we did theme, epic, story, and then story, right? Story is basically from the story is the requirement. Story is basically a requirement. So if the story is big, then it's not a story, it's epic, right? Remember, first is theme, then epic. Epic means was collection of requirement, right? Collection of story. Epic is what? Collection of story, right? Epic, remember? Epic, theme, epic, story, right? So that means what? Epic is the, theme is the main idea. And then you break it down to multiple section module is called epic. And then you break it down more. You are breaking it down. First theme, break it down. When you break down the theme, it's called epic. When you break down the epic, it's called
story.
Story, right? Now, if you cannot break down the story small enough, then it's not a story, it's epic, right? Let's say your sprint is 3 weeks. Let's say your sprint is 3 weeks. That means what? You're going to finish one user story or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5, right? It could be 1, it could be 5. Now your story is so big. Your story is so big, you cannot even finish it 3 weeks. One user story. One story you pick. How long is your sprint? 3 weeks. And after discussion, you see, oh, this story, one story, I cannot finish it in 3 weeks. It's that big. That means what? That means the story is really big. So you need to break it down.
Then it will be module.
Then, no. What I'm trying to say, let's say you have a luggage, right? It's so heavy, you cannot carry it. So that means what? It's not luggage. It could be like a big thing, right? So you have to break it down. Let's buy 2 luggage and separate them so that I can carry it. One luggage, you cannot lift it. So you're going to buy 2 luggage, split them. Now you can carry it. Right? So this is story and epic. If the epic, you break it down. Okay, you break it down story. But still, so big, you cannot finish it in 3 weeks. So that means it's not a story. You have to break it down more.
Okay,
fit to make it fit in that sprint.
Still that one is epic.
বুঝি নাই
যখন আমরা এপিকটাকে ব্রেক ডাউন করতেছি স্টোরিতে, রাইট? কিন্তু I cannot finish it in 3 weeks, right? The sprint is 3 weeks, but we cannot finish it in 3 weeks. That means it's not a story. Still, it is epic.
It's an epic, exactly. So that means
so we have to break it down more.
Right. Let's say you have a luggage, you cannot carry it, so you put it through 2 luggage, and then you lift it. Still, you cannot lift it. Then you buy another luggage and then split it to 3 luggage. Now you can. That's the idea. Okay. So theme you have, you break it down to epic, then you break it down to story. Okay. So story, how you breaking it down then? What's the idea behind it? Idea behind it, you make it small enough. You make it small enough that it's fit in the sprint, one thing that is fit in the sprint, and also it is independent. Like say you are picking user story, right? You are picking story. Oh, I want to do number 3, 6 and 7 this sprint. Now you are picking 3, 6 and 7, so 5 you missing, right? You say 5 I'm going to do later. Okay, so now they are independent. Story should be independent, it should not depend on another one. This is the idea. Two things is small enough that fit in the sprint, and also it is independent so that I don't have to finish this first and then that one. I can pick any one and just start working on it.
Okay.
That's the idea behind it. Okay, so this is backlog grooming. We discuss in details all the story. I want to understand 100%. Any question I have with product owner, BA, everybody is there. They brainstorm, they ask too many questions, they fight, they argue, and then they finally they understand. It takes time. Could be 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, 2 weeks, doesn't matter how long it takes. They continue to do this backlog grooming meeting. Okay. Now, once you have enough story, what backlog grooming meeting means, they break down the epic to story and then discuss it, right? So they discuss, and then at point sometimes after let's say 2-3 weeks you have certain user story, you know that they are ready. Once you have some user story ready, that means you can start the sprint, and then also you can discuss about the backlog grooming ongoing thing, right? More coming. Like say you have 20, so let's start sprint, right? The sprint, and then backlog grooming meeting you can do every 2 weeks to add more 20, 30, 40 and the back. That's why it's called backlog grooming. Means the back, the behind, you have the story, you just pick from there and explain and discussion and do all these things. Make sense? Chanta, স্টাক হয়ে গেছে, তো বন্ধ করে আবার ই করো তো।
আরে ভাই,
হ্যাঁ সেটা,
শোনা যায়?
হ্যাঁ হ্যাঁ শোনা যাচ্ছে।
ওকে।
তো এই জিনিসটা ক্লিয়ার হয়েছে, ইজ ভেরি ইম্পর্টেন্ট কিন্তু অ্যাজাইল। ওকে
ওকে।
clear. That's it. That's all I wanted to talk, Shanta, today.
ওকে ওকে।
তো তোমাদের প্ল্যান স্যাটারডে তাহলে 10টায় ঠিক আছে না?
10টায় ঠিক আছে। 10টায় হইলে আমি আপনি কয়টা পর্যন্ত করাবেন আর ভাই?
ম্যাক্স 2 ঘন্টা, আর বেশি না।
ওকে ঠিক আছে, তাহলে আমি ধরেন হ্যাঁ আমি আবার বের হইতেছে, আমি উঠে গেলাম, তারপর ওয়াফিরে জাস্ট গোসল করে খাওয়া দাওয়া বের হবো ইনশাআল্লাহ।
ওকে তাহলে স্যাটারডে 10টায়। ওকে ফাইন। আর তুমি তাহলে এগুলো শান্তা রিভিউ করো, যে পুরনো জিনিসগুলা বুঝছো, কারণ নেক্সট টাইম আই ওয়ান্ট স্টার্ট, I mean
হ্যাঁ
Saturday I'm going to discuss all this thing, and then I will start some other thing, tool like the tools that I'm talking about, ALM. There's the tool we do
হুম হুম
everything. All the theory that you did, now you're going to do things, write it down somewhere. So there's the tool
ওকে
you need to learn. So there's we're going to talk
ওকে
next class. Okay?
ওকে ওকে আরিফ ভাই।
Okay, Shanta?
এই কোয়েশ্চেন আরিফ ভাই ইন্টারভিউ যা যা কোয়েশ্চেন ওগুলো তো সবগুলো আপনি ডিসকাস করবেন, রাইট?
হ্যাঁ হ্যাঁ, কিন্তু ডিসকাস করবো সবগুলা কি, ইউ নিড টু স্টাডি দেন ইউ আস্ক মি।
আমি তারপর আমি ওকে বুঝছি।
কারণ তোমার এই যে
ঠিক
থিওরি
আছে
নলেজ, এটা দেখার পরে এটা বোঝার আইডিয়া হওয়ার কথা, বাট নট
হুম
এভরিথিং। সো যেটা তুমি
হুম
বুঝবে না ওইগুলোই আমাকে তুমি জিজ্ঞেস করবা যে এটা মানে কি, সবগুলা যে 100% লাগবে তা না। If you don't need something, I'll let you know, okay, you don't need this. But in general, you need to go through it at least once. So,
ওকে
okay.
ওকে আরিফ ভাই ঠিক
Okay,
আছে
that's it. তাহলে হ্যাঁ, আমি
ওকে
এটা পাঠাই দেবো।
ওকে আরিফ ভাই